Hello and welcome to the Sound Lab podcast interviews, unedited. On today's show, interviews from 4 Years Strong, Harriet, Pistol Daisies and Qymira. We're also going to throw back to Underground Festival in Gloucester 2014, where we had a chat with Nothing But Thieves. Yes, that's all on today's show. So let's push on and play you our first interview from 4 Years Strong, shall we? They've got a tour coming up. They've been releasing music. So, 4 Years Strong, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks very much. So we're having a little chat because you're coming over here very shortly. You've got some touring in Europe and here in the UK as well. I bet you can't wait to be on the road again.
I know I can't. It's been feeling like a long winter here. So, though I'm sure it'll be also very cold and gray when we get there too, at least we'll be keeping busy instead of sitting around at home.
Yeah, absolutely. How's the set list coming along? Because you've got plenty of music out in the world. I'm sure it's been a little bit difficult.
It has been difficult. We just did a headlining tour in here in the States over the fall, and it was the hardest it's ever been to put a set list together because we had the new album out and we're excited to play those, as many of those as possible, while also playing old songs and throwing some ones in there that we don't usually play from other records. And it was we were playing a long set because we wanted to cover all our bases. And um yeah, luckily we kind of have a lot of songs because of that kind of rehearsed, to put together a set list for this upcoming tour, which we haven't done yet because we are habitual procrastinators. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. And how have you split it up between obviously the new record, because that's the reason why you're touring is because you've got the new record, and splitting it between the classic big tracks that people just turn up to want to hear you play?
Well, there are definitely a handful of songs that we gotta play no matter what, because they're just always fun for us and for the crowd, whether it be Wasting Time or It Must Really Suck to Be 4 Years Strong right now. There's a couple staples that we like to play no matter what because, yeah. But we played a lot of new songs. I think on the tour we were playing 7 songs off of the new album
Hmm.
on the US tour. And it was a little nerve-wracking at first because historically we've always been a band that it's hard to play new songs live. New songs are always kind of a lull in the energy because people don't know it as well, and then their favorite old songs kind of take off again, um, until those new songs are their favorite old songs. And this is kind of the first time we opened the set with 2 new songs, and that was kind of a risk because what
Yeah.
if the dead moment in the set was the very beginning, and then people were like, "Nah, I'm out." Um, but it went incredibly well. Like, it was a high point in the set. People were excited. We were excited because people were excited, and I think everyone was feeding off each other's energy. And um, the new songs were really. I don't know if it was just in my head because I was excited, but they really felt like a high point of the night. Every night was when we would play Uncooked or Bad Habit or Aftermath, Afterthought, Dead End Friend. Like, all of these were such big, exciting moments. And partially because, like I said, it's not, it's rare that we've experienced that in our career, is that the new songs are like what people are excited to hear. So hopefully it's the same way when we go overseas.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine. And as I've mentioned, you're touring because you released your latest record last year, Analysis Paralysis. For those who've not had chance to hear the record yet, tell us a bit about it.
Well, I know it's crazy to say this because every artist probably says that their newest work is their favorite work, but it is for sure my favorite album the band has ever done. And I know I can speak for the whole band when I say that. Um, I think going into writing the album, we really just wanted to experiment a little bit more with things that are outside the box that we are fans of
Mhm.
musically. Because when you've had a career as long as we have, overall, that's obviously an overwhelmingly positive thing for us, but it's also creatively stifling sometimes because there's expectations. And to be honest, as I've grown into an adult man, I listen to less and less pop punk. Like
Mhm.
I'm not the 18, 17-year old that like first started touring the world playing this music where when we released Rise or Die Trying and Enemy of the World, we were legitimately playing the music we wanted to be hearing and we wanted to be playing. There was no other reason for it. We were just being who we were, and people were learning to love who we were. Um, and I like to think that it's part of that authenticity that made it connect with people. And as songwriters and as musicians, we've over the years felt a disconnect there.
Mm.
And though we've been able to uphold some level of success in doing it, we did kind of get to a point where we felt like we were only doing it for, like, we weren't doing it for ourselves as much anymore, other than keeping things going. But like creatively, it wasn't reflecting who we were as people any as much anymore. Um, and every release has kind of been furthering our attempts at that, is connecting who we are to who we are expected to be. Um, and Brain Pain was our album we put out in 2020 was a kind of big learning point there for us, because we really applied that mentality there, I think, more than we had previously. Um, a couple of songs, a couple of moments, just really taking a swing at something else. And it was received so well at the time, especially considering the pandemic and all that, um, that we just really wanted to go further and further into, like, well, I don't know, what do we like, and how do we wrap up the thing that we like in a way that we know our fans can understand
Mm.
why it went there, and not just see it as a um, alienating of who we were, or our fans that appreciated who and what we were musically, and instead being able to package it all together as something that we authentically love, but approached as the 4 Year Strong that we've always been and that people know.
Yeah.
So um, I don't know if that even answers your question, but
It's good enough.
it's a long-winded way of basically saying, if you know 4 Year Strong and you haven't heard Analysis Paralysis, that you should expect the energy that we've always put forth, but like with some curveballs.
Some evolution.
Yeah, some evolution, because you know we as musicians have such an insanely diverse span of like influence and inspiration musically, that it's so hard to box that into just like pop punk, whatever
Yeah.
that may,
Yeah.
you know um and so having an album that has that, maybe some of the heaviest songs we've ever had, and some of the softer songs we've ever had, some of the fastest songs we've ever had, some of the slowest songs we've ever had, kind of all in one place, that are kind of genre spanning at times, is what we personally like
Mm.
about music. That's what I look for when I'm finding a new artist, is that I'm not just berated by the same sound, same song over and over, but more so am left like with head turning moments, like, oh, I didn't expect that, oh, that's exciting. And that's kind of um what we kind of look for when we're making music too.
Was it difficult making the evolution and making the changes to what you wanted to write, but to still make it sound like 4 Years Strong?
It was incredibly hard, especially at first. We had very, very real, very serious writer's block. Um, and just decided to lock ourselves in a room for a month straight. And just work through that. And the first week was me and Dan picking up a guitar and being like, I don't even know how to make this thing sound like music anymore. Like everything that comes out of it sounds like been there, done that. Just sounds like some cheap version of X, Y, Z. So like it was a real struggle. But powering through that and knowing that we had a, I don't want to say deadline, because at the end of the day, if we didn't reach the deadline, we would have had more, we would have made more time. But having a deadline in mind of like when we wanted to do this and finish it and put it all together kind of forced us to stop over analyzing each idea and each song and just like do as much as possible. And the first like couple weeks were us just like writing as many ideas as possible and trying to get through as much of the idea as possible instead of working on one thing that lasts 10 seconds and then moving on because it didn't speak to us, but like see that idea through, try and turn it into as much of a song as we can, and then move on to the next thing. And we did a lot of that.
Yeah. And as the record came out middle of last year, you would have got it done well in advance of that. Have you put thoughts towards the next release and what I think is probably record 9, is it now?
Sorry, what was that?
So as it came out middle of last year, obviously you would have got it done a long time before that. Have you put thoughts towards maybe record, is it number 9 yet?
Well, it's funny you say that because we just got out of a 2-week long writing session, Dan and I, where we were in the studio every day writing, but with zero expectation because we know we're far ahead of schedule when it comes to new music because the new one out. But we wanted to experiment with that, and it's because unlike this last one, in waiting till very last second to have things written and honestly, even though we're incredibly happy and proud of the outcome of the album and as far as the songwriting goes and sonically and every aspect of it, it was an incredibly stressful process that we talked very often at the time about trying not to do moving forward, leaving it all till last second. So we wanted to experiment with, let's just get together and actually spend some time trying to write. And because it was so early, we had no expectations. We kind of just ended up fucking around and having fun, and writing songs that didn't sound anything like 4 Years Strong songs, just to shake some stuff loose and just have fun. And, you know, I don't know that anything will come of it. So, I mean, we did some really cool stuff, but we just wanted to have fun, to get out of the norm. But I mean, to answer the question, yeah, we are starting to think about what the next album will sound like. We don't necessarily have an answer. I think the thing we liked the most about Analysis Paralysis, that was very much part in conversation when making it and has proved to be the case now having played them live, is we had a lot of focus on the live show when we were making the album, and just even out loud at times saying, well, what is the crowd doing here? What is the purpose of this next section of this song? You know, is it the singing part? Is it the chanting part? Is it the moshing part, the jumping part? Like, what's the actionable moment here? Because that has just been such a staple in our lives, is like playing live. It's why we started the band. And I think that's the thing that we'd like to keep intact, is like very much focusing on how it translates to what people know of us live, and also how it'll translate into the potential of what it could be live. And I think that's the only concrete thing I know we want to keep intact for the next album. And continuing to expand the boundaries of what people hear from us with and have it still be something that they're interested in.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And looking to the future now as well. Obviously, you've got the tour coming up in February, but nothing else is announced just yet. Are you hoping to be back out on the road and festivals as well this summer?
Yeah, we're doing a few things. We don't have a ton locked in for the year yet, um, other than a handful of things. But we are trying to keep busy because, again, the new album was uh, received very well from fans. That we want to try and get out there and play it because that's what it was made for.
And hope you enjoyed the interview there with 4 Year Strong. Now, we are all over social media, so come and find us at The Sound Lab Yes on all the socials. You can also check out the website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk, because that's where all our links are, so go and check that out. While we play you our next interview from Harriet. She's been releasing some new music, and we've had a little chat with her to talk all about it. So, Harriet, how are you?
Hi, Jim. I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
The pleasure is all mine. So we've been playing a new single of yours called Mountain. Tell us a bit about the single.
So this song I wrote with a legendary songwriter called John Bettis, who wrote many hits for the Carpenters with Richard Carpenter back in the 70s. And so many of his songs have been such an inspiration to me. It's been amazing to actually write a song with him. And the song is inspired by this need that I think we all feel deep down to be able to be comfortable with who we are, and our identity, and to be able to climb the mountain, as it were, of what that entails. Sometimes it can be very challenging, can't it? And it can make us feel very vulnerable. So yeah, it was really quite something writing that with him.
Good, good. And that's off your latest record, Trying to Get the Feeling Again. For those who've not heard it yet, tell us a bit about the record.
So the album title actually is a song by David Pomeranz that was written for the Carpenters, but recorded first of all by Barry Manilow, actually, and it was a really big hit for him. And we felt like this title captured everything that I'm about as an artist in terms of my real desire to encourage people to connect with music and all of those feelings again that I think were so easily accessible back in a time like the 70s when we didn't have all the technology that we have now and all of this. And so we recorded several songs from my record collection from that era that I just love and have very special memories of growing up, with a hope that people who also love that music would connect with the record.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And what was the reason behind kind of splitting the album up into tracks of your own that are brand new, but ones that you've put your own rendition on? What was the reason behind doing that?
Well, I've been a songwriter for a long time, and songwriting is very important to me because, it enables me to have a voice, pardon the pun, if that's a pun. But it's something that I think, because all this music has really inspired my own work as an artist, as a songwriter, it was important to kind of put both ends of the spectrum, if you like, on there in terms of what the inspiration was, and then how that has manifested in my own songwriting as well. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And most of it, I think, is from the 70s. How did you narrow down all those songs, those great hits from those years, down to the ones you chose?
Well, the list initially was much longer than the 16 tracks on the album. I think we started with about 60, and then we narrowed it down with, oh, actually, no, that's not going to work with this arrangement, or, oh God, I can't sing that, or whatever it was. And yeah, but I'm really proud of the selection. There doesn't feel like a dull moment on it for me. Everything means something to me. But I mean, look, Jeff, there's definitely an opportunity to do probably a second, third, fourth version of this with some of those other tracks that we didn't quite cover.
Yeah. Now, what happens to those ones that didn't make it? Do you think they'll all be heard, or is there ones that you think I'm not gonna share that with anyone?
Well, the ones that everything we've recorded, bar maybe one or two, is on the album. So when I talk about that list, it was very much a list. Um, but no, I think that what's been really apparent with this show, the few gigs I did last year, which is the tour has the same name, Trying to Get the Feeling Again, that people's feedback was, the people saying things like, oh, I've really missed this music. I really needed this night. I needed to feel all this stuff again and feel that nostalgia. So I think there's definitely, scope for there to be more in the future.
Yeah, nice. Is there any tracks that you tried to work for yourself and they simply did not work?
Oh God. I mean, there are some that we ummed and ahed about. For example, All by Myself, which has ended up being one of the most popular tracks on the album, of course, has been made famous by Celine Dion. And she, of course, has this stratospheric high register, which I wasn't blessed with. So but I put a video of myself singing my version of that song online, and people really responded to it, loved it that I didn't go up there and need to do that, because I think as well, every time you hear that song covered, that's what the singer does. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's amazing, show off what you can do with your pipes. But I think there are other ways of interpreting that song. So I was a little bit unsure about it because I thought, oh, are people going to say, oh, she chickened out. She didn't try the massive, whatever it is.
Yeah.
She didn't go to the top of the Eiffel Tower or whatever. But I'm really proud of how it turned out, and it's a real moment on the record. And it's probably actually the song, particularly the band that played on it, my musicians, they all really loved playing on that track. There's something about it that just really worked. So I'm really happy with how it turned out.
I think from my point of view, when it comes to covers, I like it when they don't try to do what the original artist did. I like it when they do something new and even change the genre up from time to time as well.
Yeah, and that's the sign of a great song, because a song really is just a melody and a lyric. That's the song. We talk about, oh, that song was a hit, but actually, was it the song or was it the version of that song? Because then, some big songs that we know. And in fact, that's a perfect example. I don't think a lot of people know that was an Eric Carmen song. Yeah.
Yeah. And you touched on doing some shows. You did some. You've got even more coming up from the 31st of January all the way through until the end of March. I bet you can't wait to do some more shows.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Any key dates on there that you really can't wait to go and play? Because I think you're all across the UK, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to going to places that I didn't know existed. For example, I didn't know that there was a Melbourne and Boston in the UK.
That threw me off because I just looked at them and I was like, hang on, are these all UK dates?
I know, is she off to the US and Australia? No, she's just going up north. That's all she's doing. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to meeting people across the country, and it's really lovely doing these really intimate shows in these beautiful regional theatres, because so many artists just tour in the big metropolitan cities, and that's awesome, but also fans are everywhere, people are everywhere, and so I think it's nice to go to them. So yeah, I'm really excited about going to those few spots that I haven't been to before.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you hoping to go overseas as well, Europe, maybe to the States?
Yes, definitely. I've got a really big following in the States, and also in Japan, funnily enough, and a little bit in Australia. So we're looking into opportunities, and very, very keen. That's my goal this year, to have done at least one international show or a tour, hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm sure it's on the cards, I'm sure. And obviously festival season as well is hot on our tails. Are you hoping to be doing some festivals this year?
Yes, I mean, if the opportunities present themselves, then sure, yeah, I'd love to do that. It looks I'm looking out the window now and it looks very, very far away this summer.
I know what you mean, but it's been windy and cloudy all day, but I can see bright blue skies out my window now. So it's coming. It's coming, I can assure you. Harriet, it's been a pleasure having a catch up with you.
Thank you so much.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Harriet. Now, we also have a Spotify playlist called Fresh, available for you to listen to right now. If you search for Fresh by The Sound Lab on Spotify or link on our website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk, you will find 150 brand new, up-and-coming, mostly unsigned artists who we've had a listen to, who we think are great, that we think you will love. So go and check that out. You might just go and find your new favourite band or artist on there. That's called Fresh. So check that out after the show. Why not? But up next, anyway, we're going to play you our third interview from Pistol Daisies. They've been releasing music as well, and we had a little chat with them to talk all about it. So Pistol Daisies, how are you?
Hello, we're good.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine. So let's kick off and talk about the single we've been playing of yours, Saint Glasgow. One of you tell us a little bit about the single.
Oh, well, St. Glasgow was written the first year that I moved from Malaysia to Scotland. And I think it was born out of like culture shock for me. So I was walking home after a grocery run at Lidl, and I had this encounter with a man. And it was like really shocking for me, coming from like a really conservative country. So I ran home and I wrote like the skeleton of the song, I brought it to the studio, and then these two helped me like perfect it. And that's what you're hearing now. Basically.
Nice. Yeah, nice. And I hear this is coming off a debut record, which is in the works at the moment. How's it sounding?
Well, Lewis.
Yeah, no, it's
What do you
sounding
think?
great. I mean, yeah, it's, the girls are amazing. We're writing, and some of the songs they bring out the studio are just, it's like wow. But yeah, the album's it's in the works. There's a lot there, but as you know, these things take a lot of time, and we want it to be, we want it to be as good as it can be. So, we're just taking the time to really, really try and perfect it as much as we can. But yeah, it sounded great so far.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Lewis is the one that's like producing the whole record. So that's why he looks stressed.
So how many tracks are now done, and how are they sounding? And is it the sound that you wanted as well?
I think we've got about, I would say maybe like 5 that are
done.
Done. I think initially when we started as Pistol Daisies, we were like Americana kind of
Folk.
like folky Americana singer
Very
songwriter.
first 8-kit sounding.
Yeah, and now we've just like completely transformed into like I don't even know.
Yes, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe our sound now, but I think it evolved during our tour, right? After performing with each other as a 3-piece, and our sound sort of like evolved, almost morphed into something new.
Nice. Do you think this is the sound now that you want to carry on, or is there still scope for you guys to try new things and it might develop even more?
I think I think there's we're happy with the sound now, but we're always trying new things. We're in the studio, we're so I guess you could say open-minded. We're just open to trying everything and just having fun with it and just being creative. So the sound is what it is now, but who knows where it will go in the future.
Exactly.
Is there anything that you've tried already that has simply not worked for you guys and you're never going to go near again?
Well, Lorna will probably agree with me, but we have this one song about chickens, right?
Oh, dear.
The song itself, we really love the song, but like the production.
I think it'll be a cult classic.
Yeah,
I think the production wasn't quite what we envisioned. We decided to try like a kind of like
old
really
country dance.
Yeah, like close harmonies and things like that.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It sounded cool, but I don't really think it was for us.
For us, yeah.
But that's what happens, though. It's just you know, they always have those days in the studios where you try something at the end of the day, you're just like, nah, we didn't get it today. So, you know,
Exactly.
it happens.
You can always revisit it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you've been on tour just before Christmas. You were really busy out, mostly across the north of UK into Scotland, and mostly with Callum Beattie as well. How were the
Yeah.
shows?
Oh, amazing.
They were just amazing. Just take us back, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They were great. You know, we couldn't have asked any more with Callum Beattie and his band and the whole crew. You know, it was really an experience. But no, it was great.
Yeah, awesome. And you've got loads more dates coming up as well in April onwards.
Yep, we're going on the road again, supporting Big Country.
Absolutely, yeah, in April as well as you know, we've got two shows coming up in Glasgow and in London with Tom Law and Sleaze as well. So we're playing in Glasgow, the St Luke's, and the 100 Club in London towards the end of April and then the start of May. So we're super excited about that as well.
And then a few festivals through the summer as well. So that'll be
Absolutely.
fun.
Festival season as well.
Yeah,
It's looking great.
It looks busy for you, which is great. Hopefully, you might have a debut album out by then. We'll see. But looking towards the end of this year as well, is it going to be simply just touring for the rest of the year, you hope, and maybe going overseas as well?
Ooh,
That's the dream.
see, in an ideal world, I would love to bring these guys out to Malaysia and perform.
That's definitely on the bucket list.
Yeah, ideal
absolutely.
world.
But yeah, I think the plan is just to keep us as busy, if not busier than we are now, and just, you know, tour, you know, get out as much as we can, but also just keep hammering away in the studio and working on the album. So yeah, it'll be pretty mad, but that'll be great.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I'd like to talk about the writing side of things as well. So for you guys, how do tracks normally start off?
Oh, well. So it starts off. Oh, we have so many methods to our madness, right? Like we've written songs over FaceTime. We've written songs in our kitchens.
We wrote we've written a few like on GarageBand on my iPad, and it's like it's completely ridiculous. Like
it should never see the light of day.
Those demos should never see the light of day, but we take them into the studio and we can make something sound that sounds really cool from it. But the demos themselves.
Subject matter wise though, we normally draw from personal experiences. Yeah.
Nice. And speaking of the horrible demos and the chicken song, you're going to want, I'm sure, to make it absolutely huge so you can release a demo and a missed tracks, the ones that you weren't supposed to hear record kind of in 20, 30 years time.
Absolutely.
Let's save them.
The deluxe anniversary edition.
GarageBand demo.
Don't bin them off just yet. Guys, it's been a pleasure having a chat with you all.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
No, thank you.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Pistol Daisies. Oh, yes. Now, we also have this very podcast, aka all the interviews from this show, as a radio show. Yeah. Why not go and listen to the Sound Lab International Radio Show? Link on our website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk, where you can listen to the interviews from today's show. Slightly shortened, slightly edited, yeah, I'll give you that. But it comes alongside a load of new music. It comes alongside a live session too. So go and check that out. It's only 2 hours long, so you can listen to it in the car or anywhere. Why not? But make sure you check it out once this show is finished. It's probably for the best. So we're going to move on and play our fourth interview from Qymira. She's been releasing music. She's been releasing remixes of her music as well. So Qymira, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you, Jim. Thanks for having me here.
Pleasure is all mine. And we are having a little chat because we've been playing a new single of yours called Labyrinth of Life. Tell us a bit about the single, first of all.
Okay, so this is a little bit of an inward journey one day. I'll get a little bit personal about this, just to share that because my mum was sick in those years. And life was basically a little bit tricky because I had, in a way, given up my life in order to take care of her. But then somehow one day I realized I was just pretending to be okay. And, friends and acquaintances or people that you've been working with, I didn't feel like saying too much. So, you always put this public face on, this game face, this poker face, this face that is not really you. But when you turn around and, you feel like your world has just crumbled. So one day I just decided that, do you know something? We're all in this together. Everyone has a story to tell. We're always in some sort of labyrinth. And it's about trying to help each other up. But the only way we can do that is if we're real with ourselves and also with the people around us. So I started sharing the story more, instead of being embarrassed or ashamed or whatever you feel, guilty or something, or not good enough, or why am I not doing this, or, all of that, or what happened to the body of work that I did, or, things like that. I started, just basically saying very simply, life happens, but, let's do this together. So hence Labyrinth of Life.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there more music on the way?
Yes. So Labyrinth of Life is actually not just a song. It's a bit of a multiverse situation. So Labyrinth of Life will have a video coming out. That's not just a video, but it's more like a trailer for a feature film and TV series. So I really look forward to this because it's going to be ready in about a couple of weeks. And at the same time, whilst all this is going on, I have a new song that's called Melodrama that's coming out as well. And I shared this for the first time on the Irish tour with Boys Live. So I already performed Melodrama in the 4 shows that we did. And I'm really happy to say that the audience really liked it and enjoyed the violin in it, the orchestra elements in it. So yes, looking forward to sharing this.
Yeah, and busy times ahead by the sounds of it, because Boys Live Tour, as you've just mentioned, how have the days been so far? I think you've got some more to come as well.
Yes, it's been amazing because we basically kicked off the world tour with Ireland, and we did Belfast, Galway, Cork, and Dublin. Each show is very special because the audience, they are all very warm and enthusiastic, but each has their own character. So it's amazing to see this, and also to take the songs that I have. Obviously, as a support act, you go in cold every night. And they're there to see Boys Live. But I was really happy to see that they really enjoyed the songs, the dancing, the violin, enough for them to come up to me. Either they were singing it and I wasn't expecting that, or they came up and said that they really enjoyed it. So I look forward to the rest of the tour, and hopefully the UK crowd will also be the same.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be. And a lot of your singles seem to get the remix treatment from producers and musicians and artists themselves. How do these remixes, it's a two-parter question really, how do these collaborations and remixes come about, and what do you make of what they do to your music?
That's a very interesting question. And, I love saying it in this way, which is I love collaborations of many different types. And because music, obviously, yes, when I wrote, because I write all my music, or I write all my songs. So, you go through a journey as you write it. So certain elements instrumentally will go into it to evoke certain emotions. When a song is being treated to do a remix, for dance purposes, or for whatever it is, maybe it's for a Brazilian audience, because I was working there as well. And so any time that it has gone through any treatment, to suit a specific type of audience, it gives the song a different meaning and a different feel. And so in a way, it expands the universe and the story of what this song was intended for. Labyrinth of Life was written, for example, a little bit more like darker, because it was an inward journey. It was more, the tone, the chords and everything from the orchestra, because I was working with an orchestra, has a very different feeling to, for example, Eddie Craig's Rainforest Mix, which is very upbeat, high energy. And you can imagine people, dancing away in a club. And I would never have thought that it would suit that kind of treatment. And yet, it actually has worked wonders. Same as Rough Loaders, Wait for No One. And so I've just been very lucky that, different remixers, producers and artists would like to collaborate on different levels.
Yeah, I bet indeed. And I like to talk about the writing side of things as well. So for you, how do tracks normally start off?
For me, most of the time on the piano. So it starts because of either I have been daydreaming, and so, certain things come up and I just go, oh, let's just try this on the piano. I have to say a lot of the songs that the UK listeners have been listening to, like, Wait for No One, and Labyrinth of Life for the past little bit, they also started from a state of introspection. So that took place in a bath. So, when I was kind of like, okay, you know what? And then soon as that happens, there is like almost kind of like a cocoon you go into, and you start, all the lyrics come, because it's like storytelling, and the piano just adds to it for that storytelling. And then because I'm a strings person, because of the violin, so the orchestrations come with it. Sometimes it's very like cinematic, and sometimes it's just pared down with just a violin and piano. And the rest of it is basically beats on top of it to bring it to life.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Qymira. And that's all the new interviews over with, but stick around, because up next we're going to go back in time to 2014, where we went to Underground Festival in Gloucester, where we had a chat with some awesome artists. It was headlined by Raleigh Ritchie, who you will recognise from an actor who's been in Game of Thrones, for instance. But we decided to play you an artist who wasn't quite as well known then as they are now. It's Nothing But Thieves. They were releasing music at the time, and we had a little chat with them. So, Nothing But Thieves from 2014. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Great.
I'm good.
So, what's been going on with you guys over the last couple of months?
So we spent the summer just recording our album. Just getting mixed now. Then we released the first single from it last week.
Okay.
So it's just hopefully getting some radio play now.
So tell us a bit about your single that you've just brought out.
It's called Wake Up Call. And how many plays has it had now?
Zane's played it 3 times, which is cool because he just wanted to premiere it, but it's not even been serviced yet. It's being serviced sometime soon to radio, so it's great that Zane's giving it his premiere,
Yeah. So, have you got an album in the pipelines?
Yeah, we recorded 17, 18 tracks over the summer. We've just finished. They're all being mixed and mastered at the moment, and we'll choose 12 for the album. So it's always hard,
Are you looking forward to today's performance at Gloucester Guildhall?
Yeah, it should be good. The venue's huge.
Yeah.
So,
hopefully it's full.
That'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be nice.
I've been down there. There's about 3 people sat on the floor at the moment, so nothing to worry about.
5, so
yeah.
Numbers again. Yeah.
So what's coming up for you guys? Any tours or anything coming up?
Yeah, we're actually we're going to America in 2 weeks to play in San Francisco, LA, and New York. A few festivals out there and a few spot gigs, kind of thing, which would be amazing. We've been out there before. Just loved it. I haven't been back in about a year, so just can't wait to get out there really and experience it all again. Cool.
So, is there any exclusive that you could probably give us, or anything that we don't know about you guys? It's a tricky one, but I'm sure there's something.
Okay. Our drummer has no kneecaps, if that matters to anyone.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun fact for everyone at home listening.
Excellent. Do I dare ask why, or?
An unfortunate kneecapping incident. It's a bit gangster.
With a bit yeah.
It's kind of like a.
I used to be into oil drilling. There was a big accident in the oil rig. It wasn't pleasant.
No.
That's what I'm going to say.
Kneecaps everywhere.
Yeah.
Only 2.
But he's all good though. Like he can drum. He's not so good walking. That's why he's in the chair. But these stairs down here are a bit of a problem. But he's up for it. Throw him down. He's up for it.
Belt on.
So, if people wanted to find out more about you or get hold of your music, where can they go and do that?
All usual places.
Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter. Twitter is @NBThieves. Facebook is
Facebook.com/Nothing But Thieves.
Yeah.
YouTube Nothing But Thieves.
Instagram.
Instagram NB Thieves. And SoundCloud Nothing But Thieves.
Chips 150 at the bar.
That's
well.
good.
There we go.
Salt and vinegar.
Promoted on the radio. Excellent. And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Nothing But Thieves from Underground Festival in 2014. And that's the end of the show for another week, I am afraid. But don't you worry, we will be back next week with another episode of Interviews Unedited. But if you can't wait until then, social media at The Sound Lab, yes, on all our socials. And you can also check out the website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk, so go and check that out as well. And I'll see you next week right here on the Sound Lab podcast, Interviews Unedited. Goodbye.